Hello there. Have you decided to do a dry January? If so, I would love to offer you some tips to help you rock the next 31 days and make it a treat. Congratulations to you. That is awesome that you've decided to do this. We live in a very alcohol-fueled culture, and just stepping up and saying, yeah, I just want to question this and take a look at my relationship with alcohol for the month of January, it is a courageous act. This has become, dry January has become something that's more and more popular, and I definitely think one of the reasons is that this month, people don't feel as defensive about it. It has gotten a little bit popular. You don't feel like you need to explain yourself. Now, the question we should all be asking is why, during other months of the year, do we have to feel in this culture defensive about taking a little break? That is the subject for another video, but it's definitely food for thought, right? Alcohol is the only drug that you have to justify not taking. And it's pretty cool that you're doing this, because I feel like that means you are becoming part of a new conversation where taking a break from alcohol would be no different than taking a little break from sugar or looking at carbs, anything like that. So I want to introduce myself. I'm Martha Wright, and I am a sobriety mindful drinking coach. And besides working with one-on-one clients in my own practice, Clear Power Coaching, I am also coaching hundreds and hundreds of people that are part of the This Naked Mind programming founded by the author Annie Grace. And so the experience, the tips that I'm sharing with you come not just from my experience, but from hundreds and even thousands of people that are going through these programs really successfully and making alcohol, either giving it up entirely or just making it smaller in their lives without feeling deprivation. So already, you probably have some ideas of what you hope to gain from a dry month. But I do have some stats here that are pretty impressive. So in a study of thousands of participants at the Royal Free Hospital in London, 92% of participants in a 30-day alcohol challenge reported being much happier. Now, that's really cool. Not just happier, but much happier. 82% reported improved sleep, 74% reduced anxiety, 73% more productive, and 73% lost weight. Now, that's pretty cool. It's hard to imagine a drug that could do all that. So this is also a very cool time, I feel like, to be doing a month off, a dry January, just exploring your relationship with alcohol, because there is very much building momentum of the Sober Curious movement, and there are cooler and cooler non-alcoholic beverages coming to market so fast that I can barely keep up with them, even though I'm sort of making that my job, and I put a lot of attention and time and resources towards finding and drinking and sampling these things so I can give tips to you and tell you which ones are good. So there are online forums, there are online virtual sober dance parties, and panels of tasting groups that are going to taste all the very coolest non-alcoholic craft beers, just more and more of this kind of community. So I think that is part of what makes it a better time than ever. So again, kudos to you for doing this. So some tips along the lines of the sort of mental space, the attitude that we can bring into this for the most success. It turns out that in terms of making a habit or change that we want and having it become fixed, that more important than time and reps, the repetition, the time we put in, you can imagine an athlete, more important than that actually is positive energy. That does not mean being in a good mood or being, super, positive or putting a little sticker on your mirror and just saying positive things about this experience every day. It doesn't mean that at all. You can have a rotten day in the coming month if you want. That's normal. The positive energy, though, is just about bringing in an attitude of curiosity and just kind of being psyched up for this as an experience. So that would be absolutely number one. And just to know that there is real science showing that that will make it easier and longer lasting. Another tip for the sort of the mental attitude that will help your experience is to focus on the gain. So I just went through some of those awesome stats. To focus on that rather than to be thinking about what we are giving up, but to think about the gains. And certainly what's smart about this time period is just reminding yourself that this is not forever. You're very smartly doing an amount of time, and you really should not think any at all beyond that 31 days of January. It won't serve you in this. It is much more important to think just with curiosity about the experience each day, and that is just going to make this more fun and more successful. It also really, really helps to think about and understand the brain and realizing that our brain is not us, it is one organ. And not only that, there are different parts to the brain and they have different agendas. So we can sometimes think about the lower brain or the primitive brain, and that is the part of the brain that would say, you know what, I've been so good, I did 3 days and I've proved to myself that I really don't have a problem, so I really want to drink tonight. Or that's the voice that says, you know, this was not a good month at all. I should never have thought about doing this in the month that I have my birthday or my anniversary or whatever. That voice is really coming from the primitive brain, and understanding that that part of the brain will always prioritize just conserving energy. It's the part of the brain that its whole agenda is conserving energy, moving toward pleasure and away from pain, doing what's familiar, and just thinking about the fact that, first of all, that is not you. That's not your voice. It doesn't define you. It's just one part of one organ. And learning that we very much can talk back to that voice. So then on the physical side of things, what are some things that we can do, or just habits? I really advise making this whole experience a treat. Make this feel like a sabbatical. What would you do if you were lucky enough to have a chunk of time for a sabbatical? How would you nourish yourself? How would you get back to what it is you love in life, feeling restored, nourished, replenished, revitalized? That, I think, is how we should approach this month. So you can see what a shift that is. Not at all thinking about this as deprivation and white knuckle and willpower, but if you can approach this month as a treat, how would that feel? What would you do? And I say, pile it on. Go. This is a great time to get a facial or take warm baths or go buy yourself a really beautiful tea or a gorgeous journal, or start listening to some podcasts that inspire you. So really thinking about that, I am a big fan of the book by James Clear, Atomic Habits, and I'm reading and rereading through it, and he talks about making it rewarding. The thing that you want to do, make this rewarding. It's a great time to do something new or playful, and a lot of us are at home and things out aren't as open and available to us, but there's so much online. So you could certainly be you could try a class or just an event online. You could explore something. You can look at a museum around the globe. So many virtual things. Those are great ways of interrupting our patterns and doing something just kind of fun and playful with some of the time that will open up to you when you take drinking out of it, out of the equation. Drinking takes up a lot of time and a lot of headspace. So enjoy that time and do something with it that you think is a treat. Now, that said, do not do too much. This is not the time to say, oh, I'm also trying to do gluten-free and to start a meditation practice, and I'm trying to lose a certain number of pounds and do a certain number of push-ups. Too much. Way too much. And that just will contribute to the feeling of deprivation. So, just focusing on treating yourself really well this month and bringing curiosity to this experience, those are the keys. You may find that community is really helpful. So if you have a buddy that you want to do this with, that's great. There are some online communities, and This Naked Mind and the Alcohol Experiment are great online communities. I can also mention just that there are, as I said, so many cool non-alcoholic drinks that make this fun. So if you had a ritual around drinking at 5 o'clock or whatever that was, it's great to understand that that's important. That ritual is important for humans. And so just enjoy maybe exploring some of the non-alcoholic drinks, and treat yourself, use a nice glass that makes you feel good, and go to the trouble to have some rosemary or some mint, some lime, a fresh berry in the glass. All of those things actually are important. We realize that so much of our habits around drinking, the whole point and what we enjoy is the bonding. It's just we've let alcohol take over. There are so many great non-alcoholic products out there, and I feature them on my website, clearpowercoaching.com, on the resources page. And some of them even include a discount code. But I'm just going to hold up a couple so you see what I mean when I say that this is a whole new era. These are great looking. They're sophisticated packaging. This is a non-alcoholic gin. These are bottles that you can feel excited to, not only will they make you feel good in terms of just how that they're nice, nice products, but these are things you could take to someone's house and people will say, they'll be curious and not just, oh, are you stuck with the club soda? But these are things people will say, what is that? I'd love to try it. This is an all botanical drink from a female entrepreneur, and this is a really popular one in this household. I love it. Here's another one that's just got some great packaging. Love that. Amongst the non-alcoholic beers, Athletic Brewing is an excellent choice and is, winning all kinds of awards. These that I've shown are very popular, but there are now, it was that there were, dozens. Now there are just hundreds of products. It's all happening really fast. So that is fun. I don't even think that you need to be really honest, I want to make clear, I didn't have all of these products when I did my first alcohol experiment. I was more playing around with sparkling water, a pretty glass, some, the mint herbs, maybe a little bit of a flavored syrup that Portland Syrup Company here in Portland, Oregon, or any kind of playing around with tart cherry juice. I know people who like that, or so I don't think you have to have these and order things online if you don't want to get into that yet. But I do think the most important thing is to realize that ritual is important, and you can find ways to feel special with that. But do go on my website and see some of my recommendations. I am going to record another video with specific tips to help manage cravings. So there's some real science-based things that we can do to help bring cravings down and to learn how to surf those urges. I also really invite you to check out my Dry January, which is particularly unique. I do this science-backed 30-day alcohol experiment, and we use the word experiment very mindfully because this is just for you. You know, you are the boss of your own experiment, and all you need to do is just show up each day and be curious. I do this in a very small group of 6 to 8 people, and the community is really, really helpful, and we come together weekly for coached sessions together. And if you are curious about that, please check out my website, clearpowercoaching.com. And I am really excited for you. I wish you a lot of fun with this. It really should be fun, and that is the whole key. Just stay curious. Thanks so much. Take care.